May I present to some and introduce to others Edward Buri. Edward Buri. Edward Buri. Give it up. Give it up. Thank you, sir. Glad to be in your presence.
Good afternoon, everyone. A little stronger. Good afternoon, everyone. Very delighted to be in your midst this afternoon, and especially this Black History Month, this event for the Black History Month. One of the things about me is that I am a Pan-Africanist, and also I believe a lot in the continuity of the relationship between the African people in the continent and those in the diaspora. And so even as I'm here in the Black History Month, I am feeling pretty at home in terms of the things I also believe in contributing, in changing, and also sustaining our world. Now, for the topic that we have today, and that is on our programs there, the impact of independence in Kenya, the changing lifestyle of the Kenyan people. Now, this topic, I will just ask for your allowance for me to make just a few adjustments to it. So allow me to adjust it just a little bit so that I can talk to more specifically to the young people who are the big constituency in this auditorium today, also are the big demographic in Kenya, and also they are playing a big role in terms of moving this country forward. And I also believe that young people today need constant encouragement, especially in knowing who they are and the impact that they can have on this nation and this generation once they release their positive energy in fullness. I also want to twitch a little bit to focus on young people because I believe that even the non-youths who are here today have a great interest in young people. And because they have an interest in young people, they would also want to understand them as they consider the various interactions and mentorship relationships that they have with them. And from a line that is popular in USIU, we would want to see young people from an informed position. Now allow me also to switch one word, that is the word lifestyle. And instead of the word lifestyle, I use the word culture, because lifestyles derive from culture. And therefore, our reflection this afternoon will be the impact of independence Kenya, the changing culture of Kenyan youth. Now, by all means, independence is a good thing. I mean, I want you just to remember when you finished high school, for instance, and the emotions that ran through your system. I remember what we did ourselves was, in that feeling of independence, we took all the textbooks and put some fire on them, and they went up in smoke as we rallied around the smoke. Independence, feeling just independent, right? And so independence, by any chance, is a very exciting time. Now that's, for me, graduating from high school. What about when it comes to the independence of nations? By all means, again, independence time is an exciting time. It is a great culmination of a struggle. The time around independence is always a time full of accelerated optimism. And many of us, when it comes to the matter of independence and countries, we may be seeing the photographs of Kenyan independence, and that's the only relationship we have with that occasion. But a few of us who are here may have had the opportunity of actually being there and witnessing it. Now, for those of us who may want to imagine just how it was on the day of independence and the weeks following, just remember the more recent pictures in South Africa, and how when everyone was just waiting for the release of Nelson Mandela, just how the whole whole world was just electrified when he was coming out from the prison doors. And I remember that day I was up country and I was washing clothes, just sitting on a stool, washing clothes on the one bucket here, the other bucket here. And as I was there listening to the not televised, but radioed, I think it's a radioed, it was radioed live. And as I was washing my clothes, I remember hearing the presenter say, there is the man. I still remember those words. There is the man emerging from the prison. And I remember very, very fondly that tears fell off my eyes. And I was choking with emotion. In a village, someplace in a village, I was choking with emotion. And that day, the clothes that I was washing were washed both by water and my tears. Something that has never happened again. Tears of freedom, tears of chains falling off, tears of affirmation of the African as a human being created equal with all others. I was a young man then, just started high school at the time, and even then, I understood clearly what it meant to be free. My tears told it. Let's talk about Kenya's independence. This Kenya's independence was greeted with different refrains by different people. Now, the aged of the time, for them, it was a relief, finally. And like one ancient man in the Bible called Simeon, because they were aged and on the curtains were falling on them, they could say, our eyes have seen our salvation. Now we can retreat in peace. To those who are middle-aged, it was a time of brightened eyes. There were opportunities everywhere, jobs as the industries and civil service opened up to Africans. Yours was a choice to make between continuing your education or taking up a job, more precisely, among one.
Good morning, everyone. Just a comment. I would just like to thank the guest speaker on behalf of USIU, the students, as well as the students' government. That was a very powerful speech. So what would your advice be to us students? How can we make change even if we have a different cultural background? How can we impact our society and just bring about change?
Oh, thank you very much for that. When it comes to impacting and causing change, one of the things that is important for each one of us here to know is that as part of your mission, it is very important that you have causing a change, making a difference as a top-ranking goal.
And several jobs open for you. And I'm studying, on a light note, that even romance would play out differently, because romance in oppression does not have the same taste as romance in freedom. Now, for the children of the day, they may not have known what was happening, but clearly they had a whole different environment ahead of them. They had an African environment, an environment that was non-existent for close to 70 years. A whole generation had come and gone, and all they knew was inferiority, oppression, and chains. Let's cross over to the borders and think briefly about the African Americans. And I remember from my interaction with the African Americans, my brothers and sisters, I prefer to call them the tribe that journeyed. The tribe that journeyed, because they are still very much part of us in this African continent. Now, they saw 4 generations that knew not what African air breathed like. They had way harsher conditions. Being slaves in a foreign land, they were clueless, and even figuring ways of escape was a pure headache. They had no family. They had to create family, as their local families had been left back in the continent. Now, around that time, Kenya was gaining independence. Around the time that Kenya was gaining the internal self-government, that is in June 1963, the freedom of the tribe that journeyed was still a dream. And the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. articulated that dream in August 1963. Partly he said, I still have a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. One day this nation will rise up and live up to its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream.